we're seeing some of that actually from his Twitter account. I mean, quite frankly, this is something that is available, I think, kind of for everybody to see. And so let's go over to his actual account. Let's take a look at it. Now, this is somebody, he's tweeting almost all day long. I mean, he's very active on Twitter, and you can see here. So let's go to Linwood. Attorney at Linwood. Light always overcomes darkness. Truth always overcomes lies. And he's got, I looked at it earlier today, Jack and my friends at Twitter. So again, he's making it about himself. Fight back by going to our home pages and retweeting messages you believe would be beneficial to others. Here's what he says here. This was an interesting thread. So he posted this today. He says, this is from Linwood. Now, also keep this in mind. So the complaint that I just shared with you, that was filed by one side. That was filed by the three people who are suing Linwood. They have full rights and full opportunity to file a response back. So they can respond to that. And when they do, when Lynn and his team respond to that, I will, of course, talk about what is in the response. I will, they should address everything point by point. We can take a look at some of their claims and see what his response is back to them. That being said, I'm not optimistic that he's going to have a good explanation for his behavior. All of this stuff is documented in voicemails, text messages, and phone calls. I don't know why he's speaking this way to them. It is, not particularly good or professional way to do things or to treat people. I've worked for guys like this, and it's not good. And they don't particularly do very well because you can't treat everybody, like a bully and expect to get ahead in this world. It's just not a good way to do things. Not a good way to live your life. But that's sort of what we're seeing in that complaint. That's my take on it. So when we go back to his actual Twitter account, we're going to see that he says, too many lawyers now make big decisions driven in large part by big and medium-sized law firms. They need to generate revenue. My profession is at its best when we as lawyers take on the controversial client or issue and do so without fear of negative publicity or threats of harm. Lawyers must always place the client's interest first and foremost in order to uphold our oaths as officers of the court and to adhere to the fundamental principles and ethics of our profession. Too many lawyers have forgotten the oath taken upon the admission to the bar. Money explains why public at large and so many clients have lost faith in our profession. Many young lawyers face crucial issue of whether they want to work for money or for the client. Stated differently, do they want to be a businessman or professional? The love of money has eroded my profession's principles. The love of money is truly the root of all evil. Businessmen make money. Professionals make sacrifices. It is difficult to find Atticus Finch in my professions today, which is very curious, right? We just looked at the complaint. He's just threatening that he's not going to pay them. He's claiming that they're not employees when, to me, it looks like they're pretty clearly employees. They got business cards. They're on your website as partners. They had email addresses there. They were on your case captions. I mean, you're essentially claiming that these young lawyers are trying to take advantage of you or they're too hungry for money, but the complaint is saying that you were the one who was abusive and you didn't pay them. So we understand what the front-facing Twitter account looks like, but the complaint doesn't quite back that up. Now, again, if he can respond to this and he can say what he needs to say in order to explain away their claims and their allegations, great. We're going to give him full opportunity and the full time to address that. I mean, if he wants to come on the show, if he wants to come on any show and address him, I'd love to hear what his explanation is for it. But to sort of, post comments saying that other people are worried about money when it seems like he's the one worried about money is sort of the pot calling the kettle black, as they say. So that's Lynn Wood. And I happen to agree with him, right? Lawyers must always place the client's interests first and foremost in order to uphold their oaths as officers of the court. I completely agree with that, but we're just not seeing much of that as it relates to Lynn Wood, not here anyways. So let's take a look at the other gentleman who was involved in this case. And of course, we're talking about Pierce Bainbridge. We're talking about John Pierce. John Pierce is the other gentleman that we had spoken about. And, he's got some issues too. We have to say it. We just have to call it out. Now, John Pierce is is nobody I know personally. I don't know much about the guy other than what we're learning about him. I have seen him appear on Tucker. I've seen his video. I think we played some of that the last time he was on the phone with Kyle Rittenhouse on this channel. But a lot more is coming out about this guy as well that is troubling. The primary focus here is Kyle Rittenhouse deserves an adequate defense. He deserves proper representation. And we just saw with Linwood that there's some allegations of some instability there, and some pretty good evidence from what I can see to back that up. We're going to see what his response looks like and whether he's going to address any of those things on the merit. Same type of situation with John Pierce. John Pierce is a civil lawyer, from what I could tell, not a criminal lawyer, but he's helping Kyle Rittenhouse on his case. Now, I have no doubt that John Pierce is intelligent and could handle a criminal case if he needed to, but I don't see that he's got any experience from it. I know he's not from Wisconsin. Neither of these guys are. So my guess would be that they know very little about Wisconsin criminal procedure. I sure don't. They probably know very little about the judges and about the juries there and how they sentence and what the plea offers look like. And they probably don't have personal relationships with any of the prosecutors there. So, there's a lot of concerns just at the outset with these two guys representing Kyle Rittenhouse, just because the subject matter doesn't line up very well. These guys are civil attorneys. Kyle Rittenhouse has a criminal case. So why are they working on it? Well, I don't know. That's something that Kyle and his family probably made a decision on that regard. But as more and more comes out, and we're starting to see that, where there's smoke, there may be some fire. We have to ask the question, right? Is it time to reassess his defense team, and how is this going to work out for him if he does, and how is it going to work out for him if he doesn't?